show must go on. The show must go on. Linda Yates.
Do you watch the news? Do you read the news? Do you listen to the news? Some of you are shaking your head yes. Some of you are shaking your head no. Years ago, I had an addiction to finding anything that had to do with the news. I had to watch the news every single day. I had to grasp what was happening in this world and what was going on today. This addiction was so strong, it's almost like the addiction that I have at the end of the day. That addiction of, I have to have some chocolate at the end of the day. But years ago, this addiction came to a halt. And the reason it came to a halt was an event that occurred. You probably remember it, and that was 9/11. I will never forget, I was in Las Vegas, Nevada, speaking to a group of about 80 CPAs and attorneys on business valuation and marketing valuation. When I'd gone for my morning run, gorgeous, beautiful run as the sun was rising above the hills in Las Vegas, I thought to myself that morning, what an incredible day to be alive. How beautiful the sun is. How beautiful it is to be alive. These were the thoughts that went through my mind as I went for that morning run. As I came into my hotel room, turned on the shower, started to get ready for the day, my phone rang. My cell phone. A friend calling from the East Coast said, Linda, turn on your news. I turned on my news. And I was in shock. Just as I was doing that, the second plane was going into the towers. Shock. Horror. Disbelief. What was happening? We all were in this state of not knowing how to handle what we'd just seen and what we were experiencing. As I met with this very large group, as we came together, no one knew what to say. Headquarters, which was located a few hours north of Vegas in Salt Lake City, Utah, called me and said, Linda, what do you want to do? I said, no one's going anywhere. And the people that were going somewhere were the people that had cars. So I said, the show must go on. The show must go on. A metaphoric phrase. It had to go on. We were all glued, transfixed to the news. Hour after hour of news. Till finally, I had to shut it off. A new day had to dawn. It had to, for all of us, because we couldn't be stuck in that moment forever. That event to us is the event of D-Day, which is coming up, is to our parents and grandparents. That event has shaped what our military has turned out to be currently at this time. In my own personal family, I have 7 either sons-in-laws, trying to figure out what exactly they are, nephew-in-laws, again, I don't have that many daughters, I have 1 daughter. Nephew-in-laws that are actually serving in the military. My own children have considered very strongly serving in the military because that day in time etched their souls. But the show must go on. Let's think about what does that mean for each of us individually. We have different things that occur to us. That event was such a striking event that occurred and impacted every one of us. But in our own individual lives, there's things that occur that hit us in the gut. And we think to ourselves, how am I going to be able to move on from this experience? This actually happened to me literally when I was about 20 years old. I had an emergency appendectomy. The next morning, they wanted me to walk. I said, are you nuts? I was bent over like this. I thought there was no way I was ever going to be able to stand up straight, let alone walk in heels again. But I had to. And if I hadn't have, I wouldn't be speaking to you today. Step by step, inch by inch, breath by breath, I had to overcome this trial and this challenge. And yes, the show had to go on for me. By taking what happens to us individually and then sharing that with our posterity, sharing that with friends, colleagues, people we interact with, our example becomes an influence, and hopefully a positive influence. I have this great passion and love to speaking to young women across the U.S. about the potential that resides in each one of them. We all have trials that come and afflict us, but it's what we do with that trial that makes the mantle of the man. For we each are the masters of our fate and the captain of our souls. It's important for others to realize, and also important for us to realize, the power that we have when we can take those bad things that happen to us and turn them around. I grew up learning a song that went something like this. If you chance to meet a frown, do not let it stay. Simply turn it upside down and smile that frown away. No one likes a frowny face. Change it for a smile. Make the world a better place by smiling all the while. We can turn a frown upside down by just making the decision to do so. This past holiday has been an incredible holiday for me, Thanksgiving. You know, it's easy to get rooted in our life of thinking, woe is me. And that's what we like to call the doom loop. The doom loop is one bad thing happens, and then another bad thing happens, and then another bad thing happens, and we get sucked into this doom loop. You don't want to go down there. You get what you focus on. So if you're focusing on doom, and if you're only tuned into the news, sometimes you can get sucked into that doom. You don't want to go there. What are some of the positive things that you can focus on? As Thanksgiving has gone by, it's given us all an opportunity to reflect on what it is we're grateful for. I would encourage you, all of us, to not let it just be one day out of the year. That today we write down 3 things we're grateful for. Just 3 little things that we're grateful for. Perhaps it's the sun rising. Perhaps it's the waves of the ocean. Perhaps it's a compliment from a stranger. Creating a gratitude journal today, 3 things. And then tomorrow, write 3 more things. And then the next day, another 3 more things. 21 days of that, you'll have a habit. You'll have a pattern. You will also have something that you can wrap up and hold and continue to digest when the show must go on for you and for you to reflect back on and look at. Mr. Toastmaster.